We have a wonderful lineup for you today. Welcome to those of you who are here with us in the audience live and our folks on YouTube as well. Thank you all, family and friends, 6th through 8th graders, for joining us, faculty and staff. We're happy to have you. So today we have Macy Bowman, Abby Chernett, Josie Shu, Samari White, and Isor Ruby.
Good morning, middle school. My name is Macy Bowman and welcome to my Convocations speech. For Voice and Vision Seminar, we create something real for someone real. When choosing your topic for your speech, you have to think about something that you are passionate about and how it will help people in your community or people around the world. One of the first assignments for seminar was choosing my topic. I had to come up with 2 different potential topics I would do for my project. The first topic was helping the homeless, and my second topic was the shoe drive for dancers. I chose doing a shoe drive, but instead of only doing shoes, I created a drive where people can donate leotards, tights, shoes, and other dance items. Choosing a topic was hard for me because I was interested in both topics, but I came to the conclusion that doing a dance drive would be more fascinating for me. Throughout the process of making my seminar project, I went through many challenges. The biggest challenge I had to face was reaching out to people about my project. I emailed many schools and organizations about my project in any ways I could possibly help them or them can help me. Unfortunately, they did not get back to me, so I had to ask other people. For my project, I chose to do a dance drive where I asked people to bring in items such as leotards and dance shoes. This drive will help people in our community who enjoy dancing and not have to spend money on dance items. I chose this topic because I'm a dancer. I've been dancing for 10 years and my parents have spent a large amount of money on all of the items they bought me. I want to help my fellow dancers so they can enjoy the fun in dancing and not have to worry about the cost. When doing my research about this topic, I have learned that many people do believe that dance items cost way too much. Now in my journey, I have collected many items for my dance drive. In March, I hope to do a dance class for middle school where I can teach many dance styles. Also, in my dance class, I hope to give people extra shoes or leotards if they need those. A skill Voice and Vision has taught me is independence. Being independent means not depending on other people for livelihood or subsistence. In seminar, we learn how to do things on our own, which prepares when we are adults. The many assignments and due dates we had taught me how to stay on task, get work done, and time management, which are things everyone needs to know. Thank you for listening.
Hi. Being the child of immigrants is a bit of a challenging situation. When it comes to schoolwork, my parents aren't able to help, and there are quite a few cultural differences between my parents and the Baltimore community. Although having immigrant parents is a bit tough, it gives me the opportunity to be grateful for every little thing I'm able to acquire. My parents are both immigrants from Ethiopia, a country in East Africa. Life in Ethiopia isn't the easiest, especially for those who struggle with gaining access to basic things. Even for those who are wealthy, there are still many problems that can occur and interfere with their lives, such as sickness, government issues, and more. My parents didn't have the toughest time living in Ethiopia, but it definitely wasn't easy. I feel that this is the reason behind my parents' frequent reminders that they want me to take advantage of the opportunities they weren't able to have. It means a lot to me that they care, and the more I thought about my parents' efforts of moving here and creating a wonderful life out of nothing, it led me to wonder exactly how hard is life in Ethiopia. After doing a lot of very much needed research, I came to discover the difficulties many people in Ethiopia have to face. Not only are there many areas in Ethiopia that are only able to depend on small-scale agriculture to survive and are still working on improving their poverty reduction and positive economic growth, but there are also many wars and government issues that affect those who are already going through a tough time. Although I try to stay aware of the fact that I might not be able to make much of a difference in their society, I wanted to at least try as a way of giving back to my parents and showing them appreciation. The very long process of planning my project led to the final decision of raising money to donate to an organization that is already in the act of helping Ethiopia. There were many times when I felt as if I wouldn't be able to finish my project or that nothing was going according to plan, but in the end it all came together. A time where I had started to doubt the project was when I didn't get a reply from a Bryn Mawr parent. I had reached out to her to ask a few questions about a Doctors Without Borders trip that she had attended, but never got a reply. This was very discouraging because when I didn't receive a reply, I struggled to find someone else to contact. After a few days, I sent out another email, and thankfully I got a reply this time. I had a phone call with Megan St. Aubin, one of the leaders of One Love Ethiopia, an organization committed to providing education for underprivileged children in Ethiopia. She became a very big part of my project. She was a very kind woman who even recommended that I donate the money to an organization bigger than hers. She was extremely helpful with getting through that part of my project. She helped teach me more about struggles in Ethiopia, like lack of school supplies, and explained to me why it would be better to donate to a bigger organization. I arrived at the choice of a coin drive because a grade level competition seemed like the best way to get students to participate. Thankfully, it turned out to be a very big success. The coin drive lasted for 4 days, and even in that small amount of time, the middle school was able to raise $246. I am now in the process of donating the money to Embracing Hope Ethiopia. This is an organization that provides daycare, education, basic needs, nutrition, empowerment, social work, and spiritual ministries for underprivileged families in Ethiopia. I am very hopeful that our money will be of some help for this organization. I feel very accomplished and happy that I was able to finish this project on a good note, and with almost no roadblocks at all. If I had another year to work on this topic, I would be willing to try and expand the school's knowledge on countries in need and small ways to help. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Josie Shu, and this year my seminar project is going to be a video talking about tips on how to overcome shyness. Ever since I was born, I have always been extremely outgoing and loud, and most importantly, confident. I was an extremely confident kid that would never be afraid to talk to people and would crave social interactions. But because I moved to too many schools at the start of 3rd grade, I started to become very shy towards other people, with me isolating myself during large gatherings and just never being in the mood to talk to other people. But towards my family, I was the same. It wasn't until this summer, after reading the book Popular by Maya van Wagenen, an autobiography about a socially awkward teenager trying out a book about how to be more popular and succeeding, I became inspired to work on becoming less shy and based my seminar project off of a video talking about how to be less shy by testing tips and researching from tips from like books, websites, and videos. To create this video, I would first plan out the contents of my video on a piece of paper. Then I would record my video and afterwards edit the video by adding effects and cutting out some parts. After 2 months of research and trying out things I learned in daily conversations, I found out which tips worked and which tips didn't. Tips such as not letting the spotlight effect affect you, the assumption that people notice everything you do and say, worked really well for me as I tended to overthink often. While tips such as just being around people to build off your confidence did not work for me, as I would often isolate myself at large gatherings. I like to dedicate our project to my little brother Chance, because similar to me, he is also shy. Well, he is with other people, but towards our family he's more open. During late night talks with him, he's expressed on how he wants to open up, and I thought my project should help him find his voice. Although I've improved a lot, I still have a long way to go in regard to my confidence and my application of tips I learned. If I could work on this project for the rest of the year, I would continue trying to improve my confidence and become better at communicating with anyone I meet. Skills I've learned during this journey would be more confidence and courage to face social situations. For example, this was the first time in years when I joined a musical. I had tried joining a musical when I was in 3rd grade, but because of my stage fright, I was always too scared to try it again. I've also realized that when talking to people, I tend to now have a better posture and talk less nervously. Thank you everyone for listening to my speech.
Good morning. My name is Samari White, and my seminar project was changing the narrative of Founders Day. I started as a 6th grader, confused and angry after hearing the 5 women that I looked up to, well, at least one of them, wouldn't have accepted me because of the color of my skin. When I chose my seminar topics, I had 2 ideas. One would take a lot more courage than the other. My choices were a topic on psychology or Founders Day. When I told Ms. Vines my ideas, she told me that one would obviously require more courage than the other, but she told me she would be proud of me either way. I was interested in Founders Day and the founders of our school because when I was in lower school, I looked up to them because of their resilience. They created an all-girls school to show that women deserve an education just like men. When I found out one of them was racist, it hurt, and I realized it's time to change the narrative of Founders Day. During my journey, I've interviewed many students and teachers. During these interviews, I learned a lot. I learned that Founders Day was created around the 1980s, and it used to be a lunch mixed with different grades. It was a day where some were confused about its meaning and significance as well. The 5 founders of our school founded Bryn Mawr despite their surroundings telling them they could not. They found a beautiful all-girls school where the girls not only lift each other up, but are there to support one another. I created a 5-minute video with the voices of teachers and students talking about Founders Day. The questions were challenging, but necessary if any change was going to happen. The questions were, should Founders Day still be called Founders Day, knowing one of the women weren't inclusive to all? How can we make Founders Day more inclusive? How should Founders Day look to you, and how does it make you feel? I got a variety of answers, none were the same. Some said Founders Day made them feel joyous and grateful, while others said they felt the opposite. Excluded was a word used by one of my peers. One of my peers and myself felt excluded because it felt as though Founders Day mainly showed the history of Bryn Mawr's exclusion instead of uplifting its inclusion. The 5-minute video I created was for the people who planned Founders Day to make sure the day made everyone feel accepted and appreciated. Bringing up the topic of whether or not Founders Day needed to be changed was a topic that I needed to be mindful of. I needed to make sure I asked the right questions in honest but respectful ways. I had to understand that being recorded while speaking on a subject needed to be spoken of mindfully took a lot of courage, but so did asking the questions. I didn't know the answers I would get during the interviews, and I didn't know how others would react to my topic. My plan was to make a video of the voices and students and teachers to try to make Founders Day more uplifting and inclusive for everyone. Now I'm glad I worked up the courage to bring up how Founders Day needs to be changed and how we can make it more inclusive to all. The main thing people said is that the inclusivity revolves around its speakers. Most said that we need to be more mindful of our speakers' words and let them know what Founders Day really means to Bryn Mawr. Some teachers and students said that instead of calling it Founders Day, we can rename it. Ms. Boyd said we should think about renaming it into something that is more meaningful and values what Founders Day is like now instead of what it was. The new narrative of Founders Day is not these 5 wonderful women founded our school, but the people that go here constantly find new ways to change and make the school inclusive to all. During my project, I learned many things, but my favorite is that change is inevitable. Instead of holding back from it, we must go out of our comfort zones to accept it because it is a part of growth. I scheduled a meeting with the help of Ms. Macumber to set up sorry, this is like improvised, but I had to set up a meeting with Ms. Sadler and the division directors to show my 5-minute video that I created, and it went pretty well. I think it's going to bring change. So here's 45 seconds.
And the stories of how we've evolved over time in positive ways.
Yes. I think to recognize what we don't want to carry forward from our history and then emphasize what we do want to carry forward from our.
They created the school, but the people that came after them are the real ones that changed it.
A celebration of who we have in the space. It makes me feel like we're in a period of transition, and we have an opportunity to think more deeply about who we're recognizing and celebrating and what story we're telling.
How does Bryn Mawr as a community view Founders Day?
Designated time to talk about where we started and what we have accomplished.
Because it's not a dramatic change, but it's a notable change.
That's it.
Hello, my name is Azor Ruby. I started this project in September, and now I am standing here with all my research and experience on a piece of paper in front of you. My project is to educate people about how eating disorders affect the brain. I was excited to start this project because I can relate to it. Throughout these months, from September to January, I've understood what was happening to me, and this project helped me answer my questions. I've started by gathering all the things I knew from having an ED, like how much stress it adds to your body, how it manipulates you into thinking that you need the lack of food, etc. Then I searched for some specialists that had different points of view on how to help a person with eating disorders. Had multiple meetings with doctors, counselors, etc. When it was hard for me to finish my pasta or soup, I would watch Dance Moms, the best show in the world. And next thing I know, I'm eating without thinking about the guilt that I would be feeling. I'm watching Maddie, one of the dance contestants, win first place, and all the moms getting jealous. This is because when you have an ED, your brain only wants to focus on eating. But when you find a distraction that takes your mind away from that stress, it makes it so much easier to take a bite of a food item. I made a brochure that guides you through how to help yourself, how to keep an optimistic mindset, and so on. I knew that I've always wanted to do this, but in different ways. I wanted to make a Google Doc. I found out that was much more boring than making a brochure. This project also opened my eyes to how important EDs are and how much they can change you. While working on this project, I realized how common this disease is and that I shouldn't be afraid to speak up to tell others who might be suffering from the same thing. It is incredibly amazing how so many girls have been open about their EDs and how they recovered. It gave me a smile to know that I'm not the only one out there who thinks that lunch is their least favorite period of the day. There will always be family, therapists, counselors, friends willing to help you. Nope. Wrong button. No, okay. If I had a longer time to work on this, I would try to open a program for girls like me or a support group where all of us can come and bond over what we think of eating, help each other while helping ourselves. I hope that everyone can learn from this and love themselves and not focus on the bad things in life rather than what can come out of it. Thank you.
Continue to be inspired and uplifted by your speeches, everyone's speeches that spoke over this cycle, your courage, your bravery. I think 8th grade, you exemplify what it means to have a vision, a goal, a dream, and then to use your voice to have it come to be or be in the process of coming to be. So give yourselves a hand. Great job. And the certificate, front pocket. We got fancy today.
I got fancy on you today, right?
We got fancy.
Look at that.
All right. Macy Bowman, Dance Drive, thank you. Abigail Charant, Hope for Ethiopia. Josie Shu, Overcoming Shyness. Fancy with this binder here. Samari White, Changing the Narrative of Founders Day. And Azor Ruby, Eating Disorders and the Brain. Thank you again. I'm going to put in a shameless plug to get your tickets for Shrek, which opens this Friday night. All right. Thank you. Have a great afternoon. Great job. I'm so very proud of you. That was so powerful. Was your family here?
My dad.